and he told me this is going to be the best presentation ever. Okay, so there's a lot on his shoulders now, right? So you guys better tune in. So I'd love to welcome Peter Wilson.
That's what I told him. It's going to be the best presentation ever. It's going to be seen today. It's amazing what beer will do for you. So I want you to watch this. You might not be able to hear it, so I'm going to kind of explain it as we're going over it. Obviously, you know what it is. You can see it. This is here, right? Oh, it's staying here.
Here's the entrance to the hotel.
That's the entrance to the hotel. There's the main road. Quite a busy road. You can see cars going up and down.
You know, a relatively used busy road.
A relatively used busy road. You're turning into the actual car park of the hotel. There is the sign. Did anyone see that sign? Did you stop reading it and sign the contract?
You can see there, there's the sign.
Of course you didn't. There it is. Permit holders only. It actually states on there, private land. And it says, see the signs inside. That's a breach of contract. They've said to you there, right? Hang on, I have to stop myself. I'm annoying my own voice. They've said to you, see the signs inside. The law, they're fucking alright, okay, like acts and statutes, blah blah blah, right? But let's just follow it, because that's what they give us, okay? The law says you've accepted that contract there and then. Do you get me? Yeah. So it says on the sign, read the signs for the rules, right? So you have to drive past it. You've accepted it, you've contracted. That's what they're saying. That is what they say. So then you drive in. If you try and stop, you've broken the Road Traffic Act and the Highway Code. If you actually, because you're making an obstruction, if you are reading it, then you're actually breaking their law, because then you're not paying due care and attention to a moving vehicle. So it's impossible to create a contract. You must come with clean hands and equity. So if you are breaking their rules, the law, to create a contract, then it is void ab initio from the beginning. You all know that, don't you? Okay? So now they've told you, you have to go in to read the signs. But that was the sign that actually gave you a contract. Well, how can that be lawful? How can that be legal in their world? Right? We just talk about their world. We have to dip in and out, by the way. Alright? I am a private man. I will live it exactly as I want and exactly as I please and do exactly as I want, as long as I'm not harming anyone else. Okay? If they harm me, then I can do whatever I want to do. Right? So we'll continue and just follow it around. Right? These people waving at me, they're all very friendly. But we're walking down there, right? And we're looking for the signs. I know you can't hear this, you probably can't hear it, but there we are, and we're walking down. This is where you've all probably went around. Very nice out there, by the way. You went down to the river, lovely river down the back of the gardens, down the back of the hotel.
There was one sign there saying you have accepted a contract.
That's the sign you've accepted the contract when you walked in. Where's the other signs? There's the first sign. That's the second sign, right? I'm trying not to film people because we're all at weddings and stuff like that.
Right, now you've already contracted.
You've already contracted in their terms.
So that's actually...
Well, shit. I mean, whoops. So there's the sign. I don't even see it now, right? Now, fair enough, it's probably moving, but in literal terms, in their laws, in their rules, they're saying you've contracted because you've read all of that. But they also said in the first sign, you have to go past this sign and read the rules. That means the first sign was a contract. You get that? That's the second sign. That is new terms and conditions. You cannot be contracted under new terms and conditions once you've accepted the first contract. Do you get that? So stop paying these fucking people. Right? There, that is the second sign. Thornton versus Shoe Lane parking. Right? Go and look it up. And it'll tell you. And this is their rules, not ours. This isn't, you know, 100%. I will not be involved in commerce. I will not be involved in the system. I will not be a person. The Bible tells me that if I'm trying to be a person, then I am bad, so I am a man. I will not be involved in that. But now and again, you can swap your hat, right? And you can go in to be a person. You can go in to be private, right? Sorry, from private to public. And you can use their terms and conditions against them because they're breaking them all the time. They create the rules and they breach them and break them every day. Right? It is so simple, but what they do is, the next thing that's going to happen, if you've all parked in there, you've contracted, you've actually gone into it and you've accepted the contract, you didn't know anything about it, then they're going to send you a letter and it's going to have big red writing on, and it's going to go, you're a bastard. No, it's going to say, you owe me money. Right? And everyone's like, shit, I'm all scared, I'm going to do it. Right? They've broken and breached their own rules. These are the rules that they made. This, I'm going to show you something after this. I just wanted to do this video, right, to show you, like, particularly for this hotel. Then I'm going to show you about the acts and the statutes that they create that can only be accepted, by the way, and hopefully you've all heard and everything else, that you can only be under that because it's only given the force of law by your consent. You get that, don't you? You've listened? Yeah. All right? But anyway, so let's finish this off.
So it's nice and high, so that's actually fitting in with the BPA.
It is high enough, right? So that is actually by their rules.
Tell me you can actually
but the biggest point, how are you driving a vehicle, right? And it states there, you have to go, due care and attention. It actually states you're not allowed to read text. You try getting on your phone, right? Now, and this is what the what do you call them? The private parking parasitical pirates will say. Well, this is a sign. You have to read a traffic sign. It ain't a traffic sign. Traffic signs are huge. And you're looking at them driving down, it's got a big arrow saying, fuck off there. Right? That is a traffic sign. This is not a traffic sign. This is information. This is a contract. Contract law says that you have to have equal terms and conditions. There has to be an exchange. There has to be a meeting of the minds. You have to actually see the conditions, the terms, and accept them in that split second. And that itself, that sign says, you can't read them until you get in. Accept the contract. Like, okay, all right, like, let's go and see it. I'm going to lend you 20 grand, right? You have to sign it now. Sign it. You've signed it, and I say, come back tomorrow, and I'll show you the terms and conditions. Terms and conditions are, you've got till Friday to repay, I'm going to break your fucking legs. It's the same thing, right? You know what, that's oh shit, oh, I wish I'd never signed that. But they've actually said, you've contracted. Do you get me? You see, this is the actual scam that's being put on upon everyone. Now, we're all here, right, hopefully. If I get out of here. I'm not brilliant at tech, I can't even really see. Right, if I go to the next set of slides. Who's that? How do you make it full screen? Can you see? I don't see anything. Slideshow, can you go to the top? That one. You do. Who is that anyway?
Carnegie. No, click on the projector screen symbol.
No, click on the
that one. That's it.
There you go.
There you go. Andrew Carnegie. There you go.
Andrew Carnegie. Who knows who that is? Who has heard of that? He's been dead over 100 years, by the way. This guy wrote the Online Safety Act. It's just coming out, isn't it?
On the train line.
Yeah, it's just coming out, isn't it? So everyone's screaming and shouting. This guy wrote it. Well, not really, but kind of. No, but honestly, I ain't kidding. Alright? Carnegie, Steele, he was the basically, like, have you ever heard of, like, what's his name? Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Right? Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. This was written about people like Ford, Carnegie, right? Think and Grow Rich. Basically, what they should have renamed the book, you know, be a twat and love everyone. Right? That's really what I should have said. Carnegie, like, I mean, I'm going to go over it, and there is a point to it, by the way. I'm not just rambling. But his public face was uplift the people, help the people, support the workers. Right? In reality, what he was doing labour suppression. Right? Margaret Thatcher with a hat on. Right? Anyone lived through, like, the miners' strike? You know, went through it? I did. You know, I was on the lines. I wasn't a miner, I just joined in. Right? My mates were miners, so I had an excuse. But, like, labour suppression, it completely was ruining everybody. An absolute monopoly on the steel industry. Nobody was allowed to do anything unless he said so in the whole of the United States. Come on, man. His legacy. The Carnegie UK Trust. You want to write that down. You want to make a note of that, right? You have a look at all of the acts and statutes that are written in the UK and find out where their name is. Right? Because their name is all over the Online Safety Act. They created the Online Safety Act. They sold it to Parliament. Founded in 1913, the Carnegie UK Trust, for the well-being of people in the UK. Anyone ever tells you that, you need to run, don't you? Oh, we're looking after you. Fuck off. Leave me alone. Right? And it's still active. And they literally created and wrote the Online Safety Act 2023. Over 100 years later, and it's still there. The guy's been dead for over 100 years, and he's still interfering in our lives. So people are getting arrested, right, for putting Facebook posts or sharing a Facebook post because of that twat. Well, not her, but like the one before with the hat on. Yeah? And there it is. Right? Modern digital era, information control. That's all it is. It's information control. So everything that they're doing is controlling what we're allowed to listen to, see, and share. And that's exactly what it looks like. Online Safety Act 2023 keeps you safe by controlling you, right? So there is, what's that word? Look, isn't that? I'll make this picture. I think that's really good. It shows them there's the Houses of Parliament, fucking lizards. Right? Running out all their money coming out of their pockets. Whole thing is just a scam. And there we go, the acts and the statutes. Who is it when they say we the people are actually consenting to the acts and statutes? It's only them. It ain't you. They're talking about themselves. They're talking about the lizards. So you don't consent. Now they can tell you things like, oh no, we actually do it by a group. Yeah, all right. So have a look at the Act. And the one I'm going to talk about today, it's all GDPR, General Data Protection Regulations. Now, the reason why I'm putting that in and tying it together with that is because the whole thing, right, that I'm going to talk about today is called the Freedom of Protections Act. Doesn't that sound good? Freedom Protection, who doesn't want that? Right? Okay. But that's the same thing as the Act going back. Right, that we're talking about. The words do not mean what they say. You know? And it's all history. There is nothing different from now. What they've been doing forever and ever and ever is just the same as what they're doing now. It's up to you to opt in or opt out. But you can opt in. I should have bought my hats. Right, I've got two hats. One says private, one says public. And you can jump from being private and public. and you can actually act as one and act as the other, if you know what you're doing. Okay? So you can actually go in and jump into their act and use their rules against them. So Carnegie, alright, Theresa May is the one that actually wrote this next act. 100 years, and it's exactly the same. There is no difference. 1913, uplifted people, that was Carnegie. Now he ruled everything. If you stepped out of line, you were going to lose your job, you were going to lose your house, you were going to lose your living, right? It's the same as the mines where I come from, right? Where I used to have a house, it was like literally one street, and that was it, and the rest of it was all a slag heap. Do you know what a slag heap was? An old one that turned into a meadow from the mine, and like Janine's granddad, right, got literally blown up in the mine, right? They said they didn't see him because we blowed it up. No, didn't see you, sorry. Right, they blew him up, killed him. 3 weeks later, they threw the mother and all the children out of the pit house. Right? True story. Absolutely. And he was exactly the same, Carnegie. So he was running the steel industry. If you worked in the steel industry, he would give you a house. Fantastic. You put a step wrong, you're losing your house. Right? That is the facts. So they try to make themselves look like they're looking after you, when what they're doing is they're controlling you. So the reality of it is labour suppression. He ruined the actual unions, ruined and destroyed anybody who would stand up for their rights. Yous are all fucked. Right? He's after you. Luckily he's dead. Right? But he's been replaced. May, that's Theresa May. Can anyone remember Theresa May?
Yeah.
2012, Protection of Freedoms. I don't know why it says it twice, it's probably my bad writing. Protection of Freedoms Act. It sounds great, doesn't it? Protection of Freedoms, oh, I want that, that sounds really good. So what they do is they put that like public face out, like, we need to vote for this, we need to be part of this, we need to be in there, like saying, like, you know, oh, freedom, fucking get in, yeah, I'll have that. Right, what they've done is they actually turned it on its head. This is the act, the Protection of Freedoms Act 2012. Right, I'm being very specific today. That there gives them the ability to enforce any charge on a keeper of a car. Not the driver. You go speeding, you go in the traffic lane, you go in a bus lane, you do anything wrong there, they have to know who the driver was. When you go and park in Asda, they can go directly for the keeper. Not the driver, because of her. Theresa May, 2012, Protection of Freedoms Act, she got millions of pounds, and all of the other MPs also got millions of pounds to make sure that the corporate entities could enforce it onto the keeper, instead of having to go through the dilemma of finding out who was the driver. Is anyone from Scotland? Anyone from the north of Ireland? The English might call it the Northern Ireland, but it's the north of Ireland. Yeah? But this doesn't apply, by the way. Section 4 of the 2012 Freedoms Act, or Protection of Freedoms Act, if you're in Scotland or the north of Ireland, the English like to call Northern Ireland, it doesn't apply. So when they write to you and say, who's the driver, say, I don't know. Fuck off. Right? And that's it. End of story. That's why they actually did that, and May was given all them millions and millions of pounds, and all of the other MPs were given millions and millions of pounds because they made it that they could actually go straight to the keeper instead of finding out who the driver was. So, just as an actual side note, who has a V5 that says they're the keeper? Stop it. Right? Stop it. Mine, I haven't got a V5, they took it off me years ago. I've never had it, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years. But it's still on record, and you can go onto the DVLA, and all it says is one word, full capitals, and it says trustee. And that's all it says. Doesn't say trustee of a private trust, doesn't say a private trust, doesn't say anybody, it's just one word, trustee. And what is that? It is, well, what is it not? Was probably a better way of putting it. It is not a legal personality. They accepted it. Now they're pissed off. Because they can't tie it to anybody or anything. So, a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago, something like that, I was getting some reflexology, right, anyway, and so Janine said, I'll drop you off and I'll go and do some shopping. I was like, fine, no problem. So, it's like she went and parked in this like little local car park, which you're only allowed 1 hour free, right? So she says, I've never seen anybody walking around taking notes of like, you know, the number plates on the car. It's like, I've never had any cameras. What? But anyway, so we get this charge, right? What do you call it? A parking charge notice, which tries to make it look like a fine, right? So, you know, these are not fines, by the way. These are a charge for a breach of contract. The contract they say you met, because you come in this hotel, you've seen it, you accepted it when you drove past, even though it says you must see the signs after. Thorndon versus Shoe Lane Parking, right, 19 something fucking other, right, that says there you can't have new terms and conditions once you've accepted the contract. That's how important this is. This kills them, point blank. Now this might be like a little bit sort of like, you know, kind of, I'm maybe labouring it and going over the point, but you know, the suicide rate in the UK, right, for young men is like 18 a day. And the coroner's notes, and you can go and look it up on the Office of National Statistics, will show you the vast majority is because of debt. And a lot of them will state the last thing that happened was they got a fucking parking ticket. They tipped them over the edge. So it's important. Because it's disgusting. It is a lie. It is the whole point, right? The whole debt industry, if we look, right, that it's all built on a lie. It's 100-year-old this year, the debt industry, 1925, Law of Property Act, 1925, right, 2025, 100 years ago, they created this act, and then all the debt collectors jumped on it to actually create this false narrative. Okay? But, yeah, I'm going off on a little bit now, but if you ever have a debt of anybody, and I'm not talking about, like, I'm talking about a consumer debt in this one, right, like a credit card, bank loan, catalogue, anything like that, and they sell it to a debt collector, right, they don't sell it, they do it on huge big block data. I'm in court umpteen times, right, and what they do is they try and switch it from, we always go in and attack them on data. They always try and switch it over to debt. Trying to over, but there was a debt. Yeah, there was. That's irrelevant. We're attacking you because of data. You're processing the data without a legal title. Right? They cannot have a legal title if they've bought block data on the internet, which is the only thing that they do. I know it's a little bit different, but it's like, it pisses me off. I'm in court again tomorrow. Right? I'm in court again next month. I'm in court like nearly every other week. And this is what I'm trying to actually deal with. So, but anyway, back to it. There, Theresa May set this up there purely so they can actually trap the keeper of the car to put it into the liability. So they don't have to prove anything in their terms. Okay? So, you got Carnegie, right? He was the richest man in the world at that time. And he promoted the idea of like, I'm going to help everyone. I'm going to be like a good guy and I'm going to uplift the people. I'm going to look after the workers. Unless you become annoying and then I'm going to throw you out of your house. Exactly what happened to like Janine's granddad. You know, well not him because he won't blow up. But like the grandma thrown out and that was it. Right? So what he was trying to do was say like, I'm going to help you, philanthropy, education. Well, hopefully you listen to David and think what fucking education is, right? It's indoctrination. Make sure that you're the next idiot that goes into the actual factory. But what it is there, right, behind this language there, Carnegie suppressed anybody that tried to stand up against them. What they wanted to do, be in the unions, try to actually help the workers, right? He destroyed them. Okay? Anybody went on strike, they destroyed them, killed them, literally. And I mean literally killed them. Smashed them to pieces. Anybody standing up against them, they lost their houses. This is what they call, like, you know, Carnegie, the Institute. And it's still running. The acts and statutes that they create, right? You think, oh, the government are creating these acts and statutes. No, the Carnegie Institute, the guy who died over 100 years ago, his guys are making the acts and statutes. That's the fucking reality. Alright? So, basically, and I know that a few other people have talked about it today, it's literally corporate dominance. Everything is a corporation. You're a corporation. You've joined in a corporation. It is all a corporation. And they are actually dominating the corporation and making sure that you follow the rules of their corporation.
So he's left a legacy for the people in Parliament to act upon it.
100%. He is actually dominating the Parliament now, and he's been dead for 100 fucking years. Right? But he was so powerful and so strong, and he set up a trust. The bastard. Now, that trust, see, everything's a weapon. And that's what it is. But it can be used, anything. Like, this is his legacy. His legacy is to destroy and control us. Right? But, like, everything that you can do, like a gun, or a sword, or a knife, never killed anyone. Right? Someone holding a gun killed them. So the gun is just a tool. The sword is just a tool. This is the tool that you can use. I'm going to show you how to use GDPR as a tool. And later on, right, maybe even use AI as a tool. Because AI is just a tool. It's not evil, but evil people can kill you with it. Right? A gun is not evil, but evil people can kill you with it. Okay? So, and this, like a trust, he made a trust. Trust is supposed to be good. His trust is literally shitting on everybody, left, right, and centre. You know, that literally is the fact of the matter. Alright? So Theresa May, her version of it, when she introduced the Protection of Freedoms Act, doesn't that sound good? Who would not want that? Protection of freedoms? Oh well, I'm having some of that. I want some more freedom, right? What she did, she was taking it away. She's talking one way, removing it and the other way. The hidden reality is, what they did is they actually put in that by millions and millions of pounds from the lobbyists to keep that liability, right? And if you don't want that, move to Scotland, okay? Which you all should do anyway. All right? Enabling private parking companies to go straight forward. They don't even have to worry about who parked, okay? Unless you say on your V5, even if they take it off you and won't give it back to you, that it just states trustee. Should all do that tomorrow. Because, you know, by the way, like when Janine did park and then you got that charge, and I wrote to them and I says, so who are you actually writing to? Who is trustee and what jurisdiction are you acting under? Because the trustee of this trust is in equity, and I'm pretty sure you're not. Or words to that effect. Never heard from them ever again. So the earlier this year, I think it was January, I noticed like there was a hotel that we used to run these shows at. I used to do a lot of like martial arts shows, kickboxing shows, MMA shows. And the hotel that we used to run at got bought, and they changed it, refurbished it. And then they changed the car park to have to, like these signs that you just see them showed you outside. So I thought, oh, okay. So I went and parked in it, and it was the same company. I think it was a Euro car park. You probably heard of them. So I parked in it, right? And I videoed, and I took photographs of all the signs. The signs, right? I ain't that tall. The signs are about here. So when you looked at the cars, you couldn't see them. So I videoed it anyway, right? Thought we're gonna have some fun. So I took all the videos of the cars, took all the photographs, it didn't show you where you had to go or do anything to actually register a car because it was a restaurant and a bar and blah blah blah. Bastards never even wrote to me, you know, like wouldn't give me that little bit of enjoyment and fun to try and fight them, you know. So whatever it is, they've probably got a little note saying, "Don't talk to him, he's a twat." But you know, bye's a bye. Have you ever looked at that? I was talking about this during the week. We have a private call every Thursday on my channel, and I said 1 million, right? But one of the guys went, "I don't think that's true. I have to go and check it." I went, "Yeah, go on, do it." And he did it while he was on the call. He went, "Oh, you're wrong, you're wrong." I went, "Oh, here we go, big argument." It's 1.5 million. 1.5 million CCJs issued in 2023. Because it takes you a while to get the numbers through from the Office of National Statistics. So I just worked at £205 because that's what it is now. This is the debt collectors, right? The debt collectors have filed 1.5 million CCJs in 2023. That's £307.5 million that are paid to the county courts. So when you want to go and file a case against the debt collector, or anybody like that, whose side do you think they're going to be on? Right? And I deal with this every day, by the way. You know, I mean, the amount of corruption and ridiculous things that I hear coming out of the county courts and out of judges' mouths is abysmal. Right? It's like, but that is a fact. You can check it out yourself. So it's like what? Like, no, 307.5 million quid. So, I mean, if that's their best paying customer, and it is a business, you've heard it all before, it's a corporation, it's a business, who are they going to protect? You or the one who's paying them? You're going to pay 205 quid, so fucking what? They're paying 307 million. I don't want to put you off, by the way, because I'm trying to encourage people, I never thought about it that way, I'm trying to encourage people to actually stand up and go out and fight them, but you don't go to what do you call it? A county court. I need to swap the slides. How do I swap it? Terrible at this stuff. There we go. Thought ahead actually. Done it. I think that makes sense. Should have took my glasses. There he is. Back to him again. Oh, now I know what I did. I actually added it on. Right. How do you get it big?
Top left from beginning. Click on that and it goes through the slides.
Right.
Left a bit, left
I haven't
a bit.
got my glasses, man.
Yeah, jumping Carl.
Not the beginning, just from where it is.
Yeah, from the current slide.
From the current
Oh,
slide.
down the bottom then, Carl.
No, it's next to that one.
Yeah, you can do full colour time.
There you go.
There you are.
Carl's on the case.
Professionalism. There you go.
That's it.
Alright, so there's the actual look at it there. Big scary building. Right, Carnegie, 1913, uplift the people. The reality, he was actually just shitting on all the people. Labour suppression, kill the unions, get rid of the unions, right, and create a monopoly. And it was all a monopoly under the steel industry. So Theresa May, 2012, Protection of Freedoms Act, got nothing to do with protecting anybody's freedoms. It actually made it even worse. The reality is corporate enforcement, keep a liability. That is the connection between the two. Anything, there is no difference between what they did back in the 1900s to what they're doing now. And that protection, the Freedoms Act, and then you're talking about the what do you call it, the Online Safety Act, which is literally now, was by Carnegie, and he died before 1913. You know, you're literally getting control, if you allow them, from the grave. You always try and say, what they're doing is they're actually making it looks like a noble cause. You use language that makes it look great. Everybody wants protection. Of course we have. Freedom. Fucking hell, have some of that. And what they do is you actually take it off you. So,
We've seen this before.
that one, you seen him?
Yeah.
Handsome, isn't he? You seen that one? So what I've done is I've joined them together and I forgot. But don't worry. So here's the public message. Alright? What they're trying to do is they're trying to help you. They're being your friend. They're being your saviour. But in reality, what they're doing is they're actually like screwing you from both sides. Alright? And rather than, like, what they actually said, the Protection of Freedoms Act was literally that. We're going to stop the overreach of the government. That's the words they used, Theresa May. Yeah? The overreach of the government. And what they were doing, they were actually saying, we are going to screw you. Point blank.
That's it.
So, what I've done, I've actually created an AI chatbot. I created it. I trained it. I showed it and put into it the actual needs, what it needs to actually do for you. So it can't look at Google, it can't wander off and come up and make up stories, which is what most, say for instance you've got ChatGPT, it'll go and make up a story, it doesn't know what the answer is, right? AI is super powerful if you use it correctly. So what I've done is I've actually used it to create a chatbot, but it can only tell you on this one, literally I've got several, but this one is only about the law, I know, right, okay, acts and statutes and blah blah blah, about these parking charges that people are trying to say that are fines, and they're not, I even did a video not long ago and I was saying that stop calling them fines, they're not fines, right? And then somebody came on and went, no, but they are fines because you're just using silly language, and it should actually be used as a fine. Like, there is a massive difference between the two, and the language which you've listened to today is powerful, okay? Massively powerful. So what this is actually being created for is it will destroy all of these fraudulent parking claims. Now, it's all about GDPR, DPA 2018, and contract law. Bless you. Alright? So what we're doing is we're exposing the rigged liability system. Alright? We're going to empower your resistance. Okay? Lawful resistance. And stop people being scared. Because, who's had one? Who's had one? Right? Now, honestly, everybody's different and everyone's done something else and it is what it is. Who paid it? Right? Yeah. For whatever reason it will be as well. Some people, right, we actually just launched a completely new system saying courtless debt defense. Because not everyone wants to get in the court. Right? I love going to court. Right? Now, everybody's different. So, I've been going in and out of court since I was a teenager. I've been facing 10, 15 years in prison, right, when I was a teenager, right, to actually, gain the knowledge and the experience and everything that I can actually pass on. I was in care when I was a kid. I was in prison when I was a teenager. This type of stuff is like how we learn, pass it on. I could have went the other way and actually got worse, rather than going, do you know what, this isn't much fun. How can I change this? Which is why I got involved more and more and more in martial arts and professional fighting and got into the development for children, trying to stop children end up where I ended up, right? So this is where I've come from. So, now been there, seen it, done it, experienced it. So what we need to do is that we need to learn everything that they're doing wrong so we can use it against them. That's a perfect fucking picture, isn't it? You know what I mean? So, Protection of Freedoms Act 2012, keep a liability. That is the most disgusting. Like I say, if you live in Scotland, brilliant, move there, right? It does not count. Wait till I get later on and I'm going to show you about relevant land. Does anyone know relevant land? You need to know about relevant land. Protection of Freedoms Act. Heavily influenced by the private parking companies. What that means is they paid millions in lobby donations. That's what they call it, when they don't have to pay tax to the MP. Alright? Donations, so that they could actually create this, so it's purely put onto the keeper. Doesn't matter right? So everybody remember, tomorrow you will all change it to say trustee. Not trustee of this, not a private trust, just that one word, trustee. You can do it online, because they won't challenge it online. I'm not saying you'll get your V5 back, but who gives a shit, right? As long as it says it. I've never had one for years. I'm still driving the car, right? Nothing ever happens because there's nobody to actually attack. They don't know what it is. Okay? And it's all automated. Look, it's the whole thing on the Protection of Freedoms Act. The actual name is offensive. And it's set up there so it's automated, like threats through the DVLA. Do you know how much the DVLA make every year just from this act? Right? 20 million quid. Just from this act. So they're getting your data just from this act alone. Now I showed you in the video, you were walking in there to a sign, or you were driving in when I was showing you the sign there. You cannot legally, alright, it's legal, right? You can't read it. You're not allowed to read it. You're not allowed to. Under the Road Traffic Act and the Highway Code, you are not allowed to read that sign that says, read the signs later on. You know what I mean? Accept this contract now, then read the terms and conditions, which completely breaches Thornton versus Shoe Lane Parking anyway. Right? So, we're all talking about GDPR, we're all talking about contract. This completely destroys the legitimate interest. This also allows you to start attacking them under GDPR because they've got no legitimate interest. Right? You can attack the DVLA because we changed, well I didn't change, right? We got them to change the law from we have, what's the term? We have a lawful obligation to provide the details to a public task. Right? Has anyone heard that term, public task? Council tax, liability, is exactly the same. But for them to perform a public task, they must prove liability. Therefore, they must prove before they give the actual details that there's a legitimate interest. If there's no contract, which is impossible to have a contract, once you've drove past that sign, right, you go past it, like, oh, fuck me, what was that said? Right, go and read the sign in there, new terms and conditions, Thornton versus Shoe Lane Parking, right? And, I should have wrote this in here, but I haven't. The private part, don't worry about that, because everyone comes back at me and says, oh, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah. This is a private land, so the Road Traffic Act does not apply. Yes, it does. And I have the case law to prove it. I got it mixed up the other day, and I was called, I put in Robinson, and it is Robinson, and it changed it to Robinson, and it shows, right, Robinson versus DPA, and the guy was drunk, right, and he was in a private car park, and he arrested him, and he was saying, oh no, you can't arrest me because it's private. No. If you have to be in control of a moving vehicle, then the Road Traffic Act and the Highway Code applies. As the private parking, like McDonald's, you better not be fucking going there, right? Or anybody that you move into a private car park, right? Then the Road Traffic Act 100% applies. So you can't try and get away from that. But then swap it the other way. And what they do is they actually use the Road Traffic Act against them. Not that they should be getting bloody drunk driving anywhere, but, right, they also can't say that the Road Traffic Act doesn't apply, which means you're not allowed to read the signs. You're not allowed to read the text. Therefore, you can't contract. That makes sense? Yeah. Okay? So when you look at contract law, look, it tells you on there, Thornton versus Shoe Lane, no new contract terms. So here, this is brilliant, I'm glad I came here. When it states out there, go past that sign, it says read the signs. But you've already contracted. How can you get a contract from that contract when there's new terms and conditions? That'll tell you you're not allowed to. Thornton versus Shoe Lane Parking. Go and read it, check it out, and it'll tell you. Slightly different because I had it on the back of the ticket. But it's the same. It's new terms and conditions. It was on a ticket, and I've had this daft argument before. People say, oh no, there was no ticket. Nothing to do with it. It's the new terms and conditions that are the point. So, this is another one. Complete and utter fraud. And this is again what most people don't know. So if anyone's done it, a few years had it, and what happens is they say, oh, it's 100 quid. And what they'll always use, I don't know if I've written it in here, they'll use, oh there it is, like Park and I versus Beavis. Right? So if you've ever like had a talk, they always say, oh yeah, but on the Park and I versus Beavis, this shows you must pay the fee. Right? That's not really true. But what it also does, and you can use this Park and I versus Beavis against them, because what it states in there is they're only allowed to charge for the fee. What was the fee? The fee was 100 quid. As soon as they try to increase it, oh, we've got a fee on top. That, void ab initio. Finished. As soon as they change it, it's void. How many people pay it? Like bazillions of people. Oh shit, they're going to take me to court. Oh my God. There's going to be a guy with a gown on, he's wearing a dress, running around, I'm scared of him. Right? And they pay it. You can't increase or change the terms on any contract, including these ones. Spitting everywhere. Right? So as soon as they do it, and you've seen it, and this is exactly what they did, like the Janine waiting for me and sitting in the car park looking for a parking attendant in 2025. Whatever year it was, a few years ago. Right, £100, £170, as soon as it's increased, it's finished. They're not allowed to do it. But unless you tell them, they will get away from it. And this is the thing, and it's like the question that people, why is it that they get away with this? 99.9% of these cases will go through Northampton Business Centre. Right? The only, let's call it that, the only person that will see that piece of paper will be Agnes in the office. So Agnes will go, stamp, fuck off. Stamp, fuck off. Stamp, fuck off. And that's it. There's the CCJs flying through the system. No, there's nobody legally trained in Northampton, well, I don't know, in the whole town, but not in the business centre. They are literally a bulk processing centre. Right, so they are not going to be like caring or worrying, or they don't care about you. Right, there's a bit of paper, stamp it, get out of there. Stamp it, get out of there. So that's why they get away with it. Same thing as the debt collectors, you know. I mean, the 3 debt collectors, massive debt collectors in the UK, not even licensed. Right, Interim, Perch, LC Asset, not even bloody English. I mean, it was in Belgium. They haven't got an FCA license. They've got no right to actually file against you, and they are filing millions of CCJs and collecting millions. They've got no license at all. They're not allowed to do what they're doing. Why do they get away with it? Because it all goes through Northampton. Agnes, oh, we know. Here we are. What time is it? Bottle of wine, maybe. Get it in. Yeah? I can't remember what that side was about now. Getting carried away. The law. Right? We have to look at it and realise if you've got no contract, you've got no consent, if they haven't got a properly formed contract, right? You've heard a lot about this today, but this is so easy to see, right? That this is completely, if they haven't got a contract, they've got nothing to, they can't do anything to you. And these aren't even like, you know, like the government are the biggest bloody gangsters and mafias in the world, and they will try and bully you and abuse you and everything. These aren't the government. They are supported maybe, but they are just scumbags, right? Debt collectors trying to actually fleece you, and they have no contract. So you need to look at it. So when we created, or I created the chatbot, what I've done is I actually trained it so it would recognize and know what state you were in and how far you were down this system. Excuse me. The whole system is to actually take them to court. Right? You flip it. And under GDPR, none of them know the power of GDPR. None of them know what it is. Right? The data protection officers, we actually had one of them for a debt collector, wrote to me and went, well, you know, this is, you're talking about the Law on Property Act, this is just a credit card, it's got nothing to do with property. You're the data protection officer. Right? Honestly, this is like, you just need to know and educate yourself. Now, you know, everyone's different and everyone goes different routes, but you can swap your hat and put your public hat on to use their rules against them when you want to, and then you can take your public hat off and put your private hat back on and then be a man in private. Right? You don't have to like, oh no, I'm contracting. No, go in and out. You can do it if you know what you're doing properly. Go in, contract, piss them off, come back out, be private. Right? So there, well, when they're going to say whatever it is, when they say, we've got this contract, we've got this, I'm a man. Tell me where it says where it affects a man. You want to pay tax, where does it say a man? They're going to go, no, it says, yeah, every person. Good, I'm glad. Right? Where does it say a man? Going to be a man or a woman. Not being sexist. All those woke people out there. Right? But so you can go in and out of it. You can do that if you know it and work at it long enough and hard enough to know how you can actually move between public and private. And you can use that, you know? So this is what we do. If you wanted to do it, right? If you were getting one of them tickets, right? Don't panic. Like, you should actually look at it and think, oh, get in. This is going to be fun, right? I hope that they're going to try and do something there, challenge me. So send off what some people call it a DSAR, SCR. It's all the same stuff. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. All right? It's a data subject access request or a subject access request. It's not a problem. It's all the same thing. You request the data, but right, you know, it's like people keep writing to me and go, oh, I've requested it and they've sent it to me. Now what am I going to do? Think, hang on. There is, like, it's not what they do, it's what they don't do. Okay? So, in this instance, I'm going to ask a question. Hands up. Right? So, you send them an SER. What is it that they are never going to be able to send you? Anybody got an idea? Go on.
Contract.
That would be perfect if it was a debt, a consumer debt. But, right, and that's exactly right. What she says, legally executed deed of assignment. Right? Frischman versus Vaxil, 2023, very new rule. Right? And that's in the Chancery Division of the High Court. Chancery Division of the High Court. Frischman, Frischmann versus Vaxil, 2023. Very modern law. Right, that there tells them any deed must be under the hand of the assigner. When you actually have a debt, right, and PRA right to you, they'll say, oh, no, we just need a notice of assignment. Well, that's not what the fucking law says, mate. Right? And that'll tell you. Okay? So, it isn't about a deed of assignment. I don't know, wandered off on that bit, right? But what can't they show you?
Lawful basis for accessing, processing, storing, and sharing the data.
Obligation.
Lawful basis. The word that's in. Let's just talk about the term in GDPR. Let's make it right. Lawful basis, perfectly true. But in GDPR, the term is what they do not have or what they have to have, and what they'll always use to you. They'll send it to you, and you say, "Stop processing my data." They'll send it back to you, and they say, "No, we have a." There you go. We have a legitimate interest. Right? They can't have a legitimate interest. They have to have a legitimate interest to be processing the data. Now, if we actually can show them there's no contract, prove the contract, there can't be, under their terms, a legitimate interest. Okay? So, what we're looking for is for them to reply. We don't give a shit what they say. Unless they sit around and when they say, oh no, we've got a legitimate interest. Okay, what is it? If they do not give you what we would call a compliant response under GDPR, then you straight away go on to SCR2. You go to the second one, you say, I'm sorry, but you've actually replied with no compliance. You haven't actually done it. So, and this is what some people get confused at. between SCR1, spit it again, and SCR2 is a 30-day period if they don't reply. But if they reply the next day, you can send the SCR2 straight away, as soon as they reply. It's not, you have to wait 30 days, it's they've got 30 days to reply. If they don't reply, you send the SCR2. If they reply with nonsense, with a non-compliant response, then it is no response whatsoever. You immediately send the SAR2. Okay? Then you give them 7 days. You can give them 7 days on that part because we're next going to go into the letter before claim. Now, everyone can be different. I've just made mine slightly a little bit different way. Right? On the SCR3, we're going to see a letter before claim. You have to do this for pre-action protocols if you want to take them to court. Right? And why shouldn't you when they're pissing them off like this? So, on there, what you're going to say was like, here we go, we're going to give you 7 days. That's why I've done it in 2, because you've got to give 14 days. 7 days for you to actually reply, and you've got to give us like a compliant response. Don't give us the nonsense, right? It doesn't actually say that, you know. And then the next one is that usually would be 14 days, but I split it and give it an SCR4, what we call escalation or an intent to prosecute. I like using it. Right, because they always send it to you, being speeding or anything, and ITP, intent to prosecute. So I just send that one off. And that gives them another 7 days. So that between them gives 14 days, which is following pre-action protocols. You have to if you want to try and file it for them. Yeah? You can't do it, you can't file a case without giving them warning. It's just one of them things. Alright? So what we're going to do, this whole system here is like actually part of the chatbot, and it'll show you how to do that from number 5 right the way through to 9, which means that we're going to file it to the ICO, the Information Commission Officer, which is going to be a complaint. Then we're going to file the N1 form to actually put them into court, and then you get, well, this is CCJ removal. CCJ removal. Who's actually got a CCJ from a parking ticket? Get rid of it. Use this system, get rid of it now. Got no contract. Right? But you have to do it through Chancery. You cannot do it through the county court. Okay? It's like, and the costs are the same. It's identical. The system is virtually the same. A little bit more paperwork, a little bit more difference, but you've got to go through, it's called Chancery, right? It's actually called the Business and Property Courts Chancery Division. And there's 9 of them around the country. Birmingham. Yeah. Right? Closest one for here. Okay, Newcastle, fucking brilliant. Right? I'm in there Tuesday. So, this is really important. Who's ever had a parking ticket, went to an airport? Right? Not allowed to do it. Right? Most people would be in an airport because not many people go like travelling on boats, right? But like anywhere, airport or a port or railway stations is called non-relevant land. Okay? You've got relevant land and non-relevant land. Whoever knew that? Right? What does that mean? They're not allowed to use the Protection of Freedoms Act 2012 on non-relevant land. So you're getting a ticket for an airport, you drop your mate off, right? And then, oh, fuck, I've got a ticket here. Just so I don't know what the driver is, I don't know who it was. They're not allowed to use that POFA 2012 on non-relevant land, which means they can't put the liability on the keeper. So all you have to do is say, we don't know who was driving. Or if you're in Scotland or the north of Ireland, we don't know who was driving. Can't do anything about it.
Does it relate to this dropping?
Yeah. You get a ticket? Yeah. It's non-relevant land. Yeah? Spilling. Very, very important. So, it must only ever be on the driver. The same as Scotland, same as the north of Ireland, right? Anything that is non-relevant land, which is an airport, which is like most of you will be in the ports and the railways, right? They have to find out who the driver is. They cannot use the Protection of Freedom Act 2012 on the keeper. That's the big thing, right? They changed it for millions and millions of pounds on that bitch Theresa May to make sure that it was the actual keeper. We'll run out of time. Oh, be quick. Scotland and the Northern Ireland can't do it, right? Same thing, exactly the same thing. Okay, I'm trying to fly past it now, but right, they're not allowed to put it on the keeper. They have to, it's only England and Wales. Then you deserve it. I'm joking.
If they put on a ticket notice to owner, does that mean that the owner is the VLA?
Oh, I wouldn't even go down that bother. It's like it's the keeper, and that's it, right? And unless they can actually state where's the driver, and that's all there is to it, right? They're not allowed to use the keeper, right? And they're never going to say who's the owner anyway. They're only ever going to say who's the keeper because that's their key card. So all you say is that it doesn't apply. Who was the driver? We don't know who the driver was. Many people could drive this car, so we don't know who was there. Unless you can show us proof of who was driving, then we can't help you.
Yeah.
Scotland, the north of Ireland, and airports. Okay? Right?
Q&A at the end at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll do Q&A at 4.
Alright, how long have I got?
You done? Done?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So what do you get when you have a Scottish-born, Geordie-sounding guy that drinks Dunbar on a presentation? A flipping, beeping good presentation, right?